welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be making a project board. I'm actually finishing it because my husband made them for me, which was super nice. I've been asking for a few project boards for probably a year, and I really couldn't decide what sizes I wanted. So he was willing to make them, but I hadn't quite figured out what I wanted. So I finally did. I told him I wanted 18 by 18 inch square, and kind of talked him through what was needed for it, fairly simple. And he went out to Walmart because my husband, who I affectionately call Moneypenny, is a little on the cheap side of the relationship. So he went to Walmart and got a poster board. It's fine. It's kind of thin, but it's fine. It's gonna work great. And then he went to Hobby Lobby and got some flannel, which was awesome. And turned out the poster board came in 15 by 30 inch. So my 18 inch boards became 15 inch square, which is actually fine. I don't really make huge squares anyway, so I think that's gonna work fine. Most of my blocks are 8 inch, probably 8.5 inch unfinished. So he made them. I have a tiny bit of footage. He gets kind of nervous if I touch the X-Acto knife, which is primarily the reason why he made the boards themselves. And I get a little nervous when he's got a glue can, aerosol glue, in his hand. So when it came down to spraying the board to lay the flannel on, which is what we did, he cut everything, and then wait for it, he cut the material with my rotary blade. Yeah, with my rotary. I was shocked, and he had no idea how sharp it was. He's worried about me with an X-Acto knife. Then he touches my rotary blade and is like, whoa, that thing's super sharp. Yeah, okay. Anyway, I digress. He cut the fabric. He starts shaking the glue, to spray, and I'm like, honey, it's gonna get everywhere. It's gonna go, if you ever glue basted a quilt, this wasn't glue based it wasn't that. It was actual aerosol glue, whatever, 3M or something. But I'm like, babe, it's gonna go everywhere, like everywhere. He was in the house. I'm like, no, garage, let's go. So I showed him, and guess what? I was right. He saw how it sprays over everywhere. Anyway, we got that done, and I helped him put the flannel on. It was awesome. I'm so excited about these. The other thing he did, besides my squares, I wanted for my unit behind me, I'm going to turn you, and I apologize for the movement here, but for this unit right here, I wanted ones that I could hang off of these drawers, right? So right in front of my workstation, I could have a little board that I could just literally pop them up. So he measured that, and we made those two. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I have a picture of the fabric that I'm using. I've had this fabric since COVID, and it's called Little Things, I think. I'll make sure I'll pop in the name of it. But it's just all little crafty things. It's paint, the pattern on one is all paints and stuff, and the other one is yarns, and the other one's fabrics. But I did like one or two little crafty things with it. It's not the kind of fabric that you would put in a whole quilt, but it's perfect for this project. I'm going to order all of these project boards today, and I will show you how one is done. I'm not using hot glue. And I'm not using, I'm going to use probably a tiny bit of Elmer's glue, in fairness. But what I am using is HeatnBond instead. Hot glue guns. Now, my husband worries about an X-Acto knife. He should be way more worried about a hot glue gun with me, because I always burn myself. Every time. I'm not using hot glue. I'm going to use HeatnBond, and I'll show you how it's done. All right, I have a 3-inch strip. Normally when I do binding on something, I use a 2.5-inch strip. 2 1/4 is a pain in the butt to cut, in all honesty. 2.5 is just right, and I make that work. But for this, because it's coming around the project board and I want to make sure I have a nice view of it on the front, I'm using a 3-inch strip, and the 3-inch strip is folded in on itself to the center. So that's all pretty simple, and I've already pressed it. I cut my HeatnBond strip the same width, the width after I folded it. Tell me how I know. Because I know, because I thought, oh, I'm doing a 3-inch strip, I'll cut a 3-inch strip. It's half of that. So for me, you're right, 3-inch strip, this would be a 1.5 inch, and that's what I did with HeatnBond. I'm going to iron the HeatnBond onto this. That's the first step, and then we'll move on from there. And I'm ironing it to the open side because that's going to be the side that I stick to the board. And I just remembered, I really don't want to ruin my pretty ironing board cover, so I grabbed a piece of fabric that's just, I don't want to say throwaway fabric, but something that if something happened to it, it would not break my heart. I'm going to put that down just in case I get any of this sticky on there. I really don't want to ruin my ironing board cover. And if you ever have gotten glue on your ironing board cover, you know exactly what I mean. I've got the adhesive strip on the one side. Now I'm going to apply it to the board. Keep my iron nearby. Here's my board. Isn't that sweet? My husband's so nice. He's a good egg. All right, I'm going to cut the Do you have a pair of scissors like this? I had to mark these. Everybody knows if you need a pair of scissors, go to Mom's Sewing Station. That makes sense. And the problem is, I'm reaching for the ones. These are the ones. Why? Because they're bright color? I don't understand. They always grab my good scissors. And you know what I mean by good scissors. We don't use anything else but fabric with these. So I have a ribbon around these that says use these. And I make sure these are kind of in the back, so like it would take a little extra effort to get to these, and I don't know about you, but my kids aren't going to make the extra effort, so I put these closest to the front that says use these, and these are kind of tucked away in the back. So for this project I'm using the use these. And I'm going to, let me start at the top here. Well, the top for me now is a square, so it's going to go any way I want it to go. And I can see faintly the center of this. I'm going to start here, and I'm going to use the what I might do? Do I want to mark? To keep it even. Wouldn't that be smart? Wouldn't that be clever? Use some of the other tools I have laying around. That would be super clever. All right, now we're cooking. Look at that. Now I can line it up with that line and be fairly confident that I'm just going right over the edge of that line. And I'm using the tip to heat this glue, activate the adhesive. I keep saying glue. I know it's glue, some sort of glue. All right, I'm just going to activate that and get it around. Pull, as I'm working around, I'm pulling the tape back. Yeah, I'm really glad I put that line on there. That helps a ton. A little bit fiddly, but there's no glue. There we go. There we go. More better. All right. Again, because there's no glue activated till you heat it up. You have a lot of time. You don't have to worry about anything sticking and peeling it back or anything like that. So I am now going to heat up that corner, and this is where I think I'm going to need a little bit of Elmer's because it's going to be you know, fabric on fabric. So I will come back around and do a little Elmer's there and heat it down. There we go. That's nice. That ended up working really well. I haven't tested this yet, so if this really goes to hell in a handbasket, you'll be seeing it. I don't know if you've seen any of my other videos, but I just keep it real. It is what it is. Yeah, I'm really liking this HeatnBond. I never used it before, but I am loving it. It's a yes for me. And hopefully I have enough, because he made me 8 boards. 8! Holy cow. All right. I gotta get that cut, and I want a clean cut. I can't use my bad scissors. I'm gonna use these little beauties. These are Karen K. Buckley scissors, which are so awesome. They have a little serrated one edge is a little bit serrated, and boy, it's so nice. Grabs right on the fabric. All right. Again, I know I'm gonna have to go back and do a little bit of glue. Let me get the rest of this down. And if that starts to fray, I'll just hit it with some fray check. It'll be fine. But that's the front. All right. So I just need to go around the back in the same manner. And this will be one done. So I do have a little bit of fabric left. You could I glued to here, so I only really have about that much. You could cut it off, save it for another project, use it for a scrappy binding, something like that. I'm not that person. That's not me. Once I'm done, I'm done. And so I need to make an announcement right now. If you save scrap fabric, look away. Okay, you can look again. Awesome. Awesome. So this is a little Hobby Lobby flannel, little Walmart project board, and some old COVID fabric. That was pretty cool. Easy. And I think he said for him it cost, for all the supplies, so the project boards and the glue, the spray adhesive and the flannel, he said cost for the 8 boards $44. Not bad. And because I looked online to just buy them, and they're like $20 a piece. And I'll tell you, I'll have to look what the price of the HeatnBond is, but I will tell you. So it's $44 plus HeatnBond. All right, the grand total of $56, 8 boards done, and I'm thrilled to have them. They're gonna really come in handy, and I'll be storing them on top of my workstation. Hope you enjoyed the video.